Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the January 6th, 2026 Delta Amateur Radio monthly board meeting. Thanks for joining tonight. Hope everyone had a happy new year and a Merry Christmas. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Perry real quick to run down and call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. President. President Joe Plunk,
Present.
Vice President Tyler Henley,
Present.
Secretary Perry Hayes is here. Treasurer Paul Broom.
Here.
Director of Programs Adam White. Director of Meetings and Special Events Josh Cunningham.
Adam's one here. What is here? He just didn't unmute.
Okay. Director of Publications Jonathan Urschel.
Here.
Director of Training Joe Lowenthal.
Here.
Repeater Trustee Dan Fleek.
Here.
Club Historian John Reiners.
Present.
And his dubious sports affiliations. We do have a quorum, Mr. President.
I just did this for Paul's sake. I knew he was an Ole Miss fan.
Thank you, Perry. Much appreciated. If Josh joins us, I'll admit him in a little bit later. Thanks for that. Let me forgot what I was going to say. Oh well, it'll come to me later. The first thing I do want to do is just take a minute and just say I appreciate all the time and the effort and the energy. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. That everyone is contributing and spending towards our club and the hobby and what that represents. I do want to take just a minute and start the new year off and say thank you and acknowledge that it's something that is above and beyond what we normally do, and just that I appreciate that, and hopefully the club members appreciate that. And I'm thankful for all of that. We have a exciting year in front of us. I am very excited about what's coming to us, as well as a little nervous, but it is an exciting year. With that, I do want to remind everybody and say hello to our guests who will be joining us on a regular basis. Steve Frazier, who is our committee chairperson for our upcoming Hamfest Expo convention, whatever the name yet to be determined will be. And we'll get there, but just to acknowledge that Steve is with us. And with that, I know that we'll move right into the review of the minutes. I know that Perry circulated the minutes. Thank you, Perry. Did anyone have any edits, suggestions, or corrections to those?
I left Tyler out, which was corrected, and I responded to one suggestion and called the holiday party the holiday potluck party, and those were the only changes that I made.
All right. Were there any others that anyone wanted to make or suggest? Otherwise, if everyone's okay with it, we'll approve those for moving on to the membership for approval. All right. All in favor of moving those on to the membership for approval, please say aye.
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 Fantastic. And I'm assuming that covers the meeting minutes as well, because those were both circulated. Just to make sure, does anybody have any difference of opinion on the meeting minutes? Hearing none, we'll move right into membership renewals and applications for new membership. Paul sent this over, and Perry and Paul worked on this as a tag team. Thank you for that.
It's really just Paul, but I'll take the credit if you want me to. It's all Paul.
Fair enough, Paul. I'll yield the floor to you.
Okay. So there were two new requests, or two new applications. Daniel Hill and then Ed Montadonico, I guess. His is a family membership, so I listed his two family members there. On the renewals, Tom, actually, we approved him last month, the first one on there. It's just I didn't make the deposit until this month, well, till December, so it showed up with all the ones we're covering for tonight. So anyway, he's already approved, but the rest of them, Mark Bledsoe, Keith Counts, Randy Red, Bob Vaughter, Tom DeShara, Ham Hillard, Jim Greer, Carolyn Horn, Don Straw, Rick Kanschat, Clement, I'm not even going to try his last name, Joe Sanders, Webster, and Michael Boatwright. Michael Boatwright, I don't know if he's new or renewal. I didn't get an application for him. I just got one of the bank e-checks from him. So I've got him listed as a renewal, but he may be new. I don't know.
I don't know of that
Fair
name.
enough.
It wasn't familiar to me. I probably should have put it as new, but I didn't have access to the master list, so I didn't look.
Okay.
Hey, Paul, have you received an? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, John.
Have you received an application for Alan Wood, M5ALN?
Yes.
I'm buying a radio from him. I've just got to meet up with him, and he is discounting the radio, the amount of his dues, and I told him I would pay his dues, but it will be the February membership meeting before I can see you in person to take care of that.
I thought I don't. It seems like I saw one for him, but I don't know what's happened with it. If we approved it maybe last month or
Okay.
I'll
be taking care of the dues for that.
I'll check on that.
I did see it come through. I
Okay.
did see it come through, Paul. It came through in the email. I'm not sure where, but I did see it come in.
So I just wanted to get it on record that I'll take care of the dues on that. So
Okay.
Fantastic.
Did that come through this month, Joe? Do you know?
I think it came through early December, late November. I can try to pull up let me look at my email real quick.
yeah, no problem. He just
super duper quick.
mentioned it to me a couple of weeks ago, so I just wanted to make sure that I got that out there.
I'm pulling up last month. That's not last month.
I'll find it after the meeting, make
Yeah.
sure to get it over to you. I do remember seeing it, but I'll find it and not get distracted. All right.
So should we include that one also? As part of the approval?
M5ALN. I'm fine with that.
So instead of Indiana University being IU, for me it's IOU. I hear all night.
Go in here just so I have the record.
I got a million of them.
My two favorite teams are Purdue and whoever's playing against IU.
Oh, you Boilermaker, you.
ALLEN.
Yep.
Wood. What, he's K8?
N5.
I'm sorry,
no, it's N5ALN.
Did you say Hood?
Wood.
Wood. Thank you.
N5ALN.
All right.
Yep. November. Awesome.
Nothing like typing in front of an audience. All right. With that, I'll ask for a motion to approve our renewals and new applications as presented by Paul.
I move that all the applications presented by Paul, both new and renewal, all be approved.
Motion made by Perry and seconded by Adam. All in favor of approving our new and renewals as presented by Paul, please say aye.
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 Fantastic. Good to see you, Josh.
Hey, I'm here
All
finally.
right, we'll move. No worries. We'll move into the treasurer's report.
All right. So everything is reconciled for the month. Total deposits were 345 for dues. That was the two new that we just talked about, and 15 renewals. So that gets you the 345. We did have one ARRL club commission of $5, and that's it for deposits. So the total deposits were 350 for the month. As far as withdrawals went, I did pay the club liability insurance. That was $200. And then there are two outstanding checks, which I'm not showing. They haven't cleared yet, but I went ahead and put them on here. One is to Dan Fleek for the All-Star Node parts for 203.13. One to Joe Plunk for the annual web hosting of 171.09. And then there were two other checks, one to the Agri Center for the facility rental for the Ham Fest for 2640, and then one to Josh Cunningham for reimbursement for the refreshments of 135.95. So the total of those were 2775.95, and all those numbers should match the bank statement shown there. I can't read the numbers, but when I put it together, I checked them. And
And they
that's
do.
it
I
for the.
apologize that it's a little small.
That's it for those. And then the two CDs, there was no change in the balances there. We just have some additional unpaid interest that accrued during December, but that's reflected in those interest earned not paid numbers.
Very good. All right. Any questions to Paul regarding the treasurer's report? And I know exactly where that check is, Paul. It just hadn't made it to the bank yet. It's still stuck to the fridge. All right. I would entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented by Paul.
So move.
Moved by Perry and seconded by Tyler. All in favor of approving the treasurer's report, please say aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul, very much.
No problem.
All right, real quickly, does anybody have any bills that we need to talk about or present for payment? Oops. All right, hearing none. I need to go here and pick that out. Let's talk about meeting next week. Real quickly, I don't have it, the exact room for where we're going to be at First Evan, but we are confirmed. I did get another confirmation from First Evan, Phil Sistrunk, who manages that for the church. He's going to call me tomorrow and work out all of the exact details of the room and such. As soon as I get that information, I will provide that to the board so that we can get that updated for the preamble as well as the website.
Is there a
I
room
have
for
not.
testing?
There will be. I will
Okay.
confirm that tomorrow when we work through that. I have not had a chance to circle up with Adam and talk about what our topics are for next week, so I will yield the floor for a minute to Adam to hear what our topics will be. You'll have to unmute. There you go. I think you were double muted.
It was trying to use my radio. How about now? Ham 101 is going to be show and tell. Just bring whatever you got for Christmas and talk about it. I've got a presentation on keyboard to keyboard modes, like JSA call, var chat, RIDI. And then I didn't know if we had business we wanted to talk about, if we want to talk about the 8.2 situation or the budget. So I could stretch the keyboard to keyboard, or we could do business.
If you need,
I
what
think
about the
that's a-
ARRL 250 for the year, club of the year?
What?
The ARRL 250 years for the United States and that contest that's going on.
Okay.
All right. I think that's probably a fair breakdown, because one of the things that we'll definitely need to talk about, Adam, is to use a little bit of that time to talk about what does the club want to do and where do they want to meet. We've got a couple of options on the table, so we really need to talk to the membership and see what they prefer. I have when I talked to the church at First Evan, they said we could meet there all year. We'll have to fill out a little bit of paperwork for that one, but it's available. And we also have absolute invitation to go out to the seminary's new home out in Arlington. So we've got two options. We'll just need to talk to the membership and see kind of where they want to land on that. And who knows, we may even find a third option if somebody wants to find another meeting place that's somewhere in the middle. So I think that's probably a good call, Adam, to have part two of that be kind of a little bit extended business club conversation, and then we can talk about the ARRL and whatever else comes up.
Joe, real quick on that. I actually was talking to one of the ruling elders of my church. He's on sabbatical right now, so he's not actually active. But he was thinking that maybe the church I go to would host it if interested. It's River Oaks Reformed Presbyterian. It's right across the street from the Hampton on Germantown Parkway there at Neshoba.
Okay, that's a nice location as well.
Yeah, but I haven't talked to any of the actual elders yet, so I was going to see if there was interest first.
That is a easy to get to location. I'm not opposed to that at all. We are good at First Evan for January and February. So we've got a little bit of breathing room. We're not hard pressed so we can put that option on the table as well, Paul, to the membership and say, do you want us to explore it and just get some feedback from our membership? Does that sound like a workable plan?
Yep.
Anyone else on the board have some comments or discussion points on that? I don't want to rush through it. I do want to discuss it, but I'm trying not to linger either.
Let's see how First Evan works out, and Paul's would be good for me.
Yeah, me too.
It'd be excellent for me. It's in Germantown. All right. We'll move on to Dan. I didn't have you here, but because I forgot to fill both places out. Dan, fill us in on the repeater and kind of some of the work that's happened there. I know you've got a longer, in-depth presentation that you may want to talk about, but bring us up to speed.
Well, I don't have any slides, but first of all, I got a small repeater question. The 440 repeater at University of Memphis needs to be repaired or replaced, and basically the the controller computer part of it, we can write and read configurations to the radio, but the the computer that takes care of, hey, the receiver's up, I'm going to toggle this line, does not work. It does, you can't transmit, you can't receive, so it indicates that the logic board that controls things internally is down.
Is it an actual computer or is it part of the device?
It's board inside of the guts of things. I mean,
Okay.
it's part of the repeater assembly.
Okay.
It's not the external controller. We hooked an external controller to it, the new All-Star node, and we tried to see if it was receiving, and it wasn't. And then we used it to key up the radio, and it's not transmitting. So it's like the logic of the internal guts is not just not working.
Is
Um,
it something worth sending off to be
So
repaired, or do you think it just has to be replaced?
well, my question is, what does insurance cover on a device? Does it cover what I call fire and lightning, or does it also cover, it just died and it was old? Um,
Well, could it not be attributable to some lightning?
um, I mean,
I mean,
can't,
you really don't know.
I don't know.
I would put in a claim.
And as far as the repairability, it's no longer supported by ICOM. I mean, it's like a 14, 15-year-old repeater. So I don't know how we would get it repaired other than buying another one and swapping guts, or
What's the model?
it's an FR 3000 or 4000.
Probably 4,000.
I can't remember which one is which.
I
Yeah,
think
it's
3,000 is
4000.
VHF, 4,000 is UHF.
Yep. Um,
Yeah, you
um,
can get one of those for $500-600 on eBay if you're just wanting replacement parts.
yeah, I don't
and I
know.
think
There's a lot of them on eBay, but there's three different ranges of UHF repeaters.
Hmm.
I don't remember which one is which, but or we may look at seeing if we can repair it. Let's see what it is.
so. I think that's why you're looking at that. I think there's two paths that we want to really look at here,
Yeah.
and we'll have to lean on Paul and maybe Perry a little bit for this first path, which is to reach out to insurance and say, okay, what's the process for filing a claim against our club insurance equipment policy to see how much that equipment policy would cover and what that is. I personally have not been through the process with either myself or with the club, so I don't know that process. We'll have to ask. And then I think the second path, which is I think what Jonathan was looking at and others, well, do we just find another one and source parts to repair the one that we have and bring it back on into serviceability and bring it back on the air? I think that's the two paths that I kind of heard Dan talking about. I saw Adam had a strong opinion on one or the other while we were discussing it when a question was asked about repairing it. So I think unless there's another path that I'm not seeing, I think those are the two paths that we've got on the table. Does anybody see anything else?
Replace it with a newer model.
Correct. Again, yes.
Yeah.
That would be third option, which is total new replacement. And that might be keyed to path one, which is insurance claim, which may give us the ability to do that.
Right.
Don't know yet. But yes, that would be the third option, which is total new replacement.
Yeah, and if we replaced it, I think Alan could probably find us like an MTR 2000 Motorola. Those are pretty steady, bulletproof repeaters. You can get them anywhere from $500 to $900, depending on who you want to pay.
That ICOM has been a pretty rock solid for many years.
Yeah, I mean, you can't complain about how long it's lived.
That is indeed true.
It's an FR 4000-2. Everything I've been seeing on eBay is a -3.
What are the majority of them, just for uniformity's sake? Is it just a hodgepodge we've got around the county, or do we have more ICOMs or Kenwoods, Motorola's? I'm not that well versed on what all we have, honestly.
Jesus.
Well, we had KOG had a bunch of Yaesus, but they've replaced most of them because there just weren't great radios, especially at a high RF site and durability. So they replaced most of them with like Motorola MTR 2000s.
Now, I will say,
Or-
just as an observation, that one thing the Yaesu does have going for it, the D2s, is it's VHF, UHF, and it can be a spare Swiss Army knife. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Dan. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think like a couple of Motorola mobiles has also been what KOG's been using. But yeah, I like the it's not a the Yaesu's not a bad repeater. It's just not very good for hooking up an external controller to it. You can't totally um, disconnect the internal controller. That's why we've got no squelch tail and no Roger beep on the 440 right now. Is because if you did turn on the Roger beep, when you unkey, the radio would unkey and then key back up, put out the courtesy tone, and then unkey. So we were like, man, that's kind of nasty. So what we wound up doing was just, all right, there's no squelch tail, there's no there's no squelch tail, there's no Roger beep until we get a replacement. So we'll investigate further replacement for that. And then the other thing is the 8.2. So we had Alan and Michael and Adam and we were out at the 8.2 site before Christmas. And Michael happened to have a set of duplexers pretty much identical to what we have, and he tuned them up and brought them out. And we have the same problem. Um, and when you turn off transmit on the repeater and just use it as a receiver, we were picking up they had a test station in Arkansas, 58 miles away on a high area. Repeater off, just using it as a receiver, he could get in on weak signal, even down to 5 watts. You turn it on repeat, and there's a lot of static, and the static just desenses the receiver, and that's what we're seeing with everybody. If you can overcome the desense, you're in, but if you can't, you live in the static and you have issues. And we believe just from swapping out things that it's going to have to be a tower climb and look at what we need to replace on top. And if we go climb the tower, we need to look at all issues, because if we don't, we're going to have to climb the tower again at some point and spend more money. So, would like to kind of do a one-shot deal and look at as much as work as we can do. For instance, the 440 antenna is leaning. I don't know whether a bracket has come loose or what, but it's not straight up. It's probably at least at a 30-degree list. I mean, it's difficult to see because you got to be at the right angle and the right distance to see it, but we can see that the 440 antenna is leaning. The other thing about the 440 antenna is it's probably old. And if I don't replace it or think about replacing it now, I don't know how long those DB 420s last, but Joe may have a better idea of how long ago Steve Pickle put that repeater up.
I am not sure. I'm trying to think. W5 or K5. I can't think of his name right now. Who turned the repeater over to us might remember when Steve put it on the air. I think it was in the 90s.
Yeah, and I think he originally put up that big boat anchor and we pulled it out and put the Yaesu on it.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it's at least 20 years old. That's kind of old for an antenna. I don't know what's going on with the 8.2. It could be a simple jumper. It could be a loose connection. It could be a jumper of the wrong type, or it could be the antenna. We did not purchase the antenna new, and I have no history on that antenna. And from what I've been reading on antennas like that, is that it's kind of a difficult thing to look at. It's we have no history on it, no purchase history, and antennas can work fine on the ground when you tune them up and key them up. But when you run them as a repeater antenna, they may behave different if they're older antennas. So it's just a big question mark on that antenna. Um, if we pay $3,000 to climb it, swap the jumper out, and that doesn't fix it, then we got to pay another $3,000 to climb it and put the antenna on it, when we could have put an antenna when we swapped out the jumpers.
I think what you're trying to tell us is that we really need to be prepared that when we go up the tower, we go up the tower with all the parts to make the one climb be an absolute perfect success. New antennas, new coax adapters, new fittings, new jumpers, everything to go up the tower and bring it back down, because we've kind of hit that. Basically, what I'm hearing,
Yeah.
especially with the antenna age that you're saying, we've kind of hit the age where it's kind of in the life cycle of all of the gear that's at the top of the tower. It's kind of in the life cycle where it's in its refresh period. Is that an accurate assessment?
Yeah, and to kind of avoid what Barry went through, where you had 2 or 3 climbs to do troubleshooting, that's a lot of money. So and I have to work on the cost of that and the logistics and how we want to do that, and also Joe has looked and so we may be able to get grant funding for it too, which may be justified by the fact that we use that a lot for Skywarn, and we're also a teaching club. So we have a double look at us, and we're the largest club in Tennessee. So I think we should probably look at that
All right.
and go
So
through.
go ahead.
Yeah, and there's a lot of technical stuff like, do we want to split the receive and transmit? Do we want to swap? I don't want to get into that here, but I think we'll just have to have a couple of Zoom meetings to sit through and wade through things and to see what the finances are. So I don't have anything for a solid decision yet, other than we're going to have to climb. And I
One
can't.
point on that,
So-
real quick. If we
Yeah.
were to do that, I like the idea of just going ahead and swapping everything out while we're up there. Because if anything is serviceable, we could always use it on one of the other repeater sites that don't cost us $3,000 to get to.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no reason why we couldn't use that antenna if it's deemed good at Methodist North although it's probably a pretty tall antenna, but well, we've had 18, 19 feet antennas there before, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. If we deem things to be workable, there's no reason why we can't use it. Pet 420 still good. Uh, it could be a spare for a few years at University of Memphis, or we could put another repeater up there.
Yeah. I think Paul's point there, though, is all the gear that comes down could absolutely be put into service in more accessible locations where it could still be leveraged and it could still be useful, but it's not a high dollar tower climb to get to it to fix it if something should happen. It's a go up on the roof at Methodist North, or it's a very short climb up a very manageable tower segment at the U of M or other locations. So
Yep. And
I think to kind of go ahead.
Michael he's got a network, like a actual genuine network analyzer, and did a sweep of the coax and antenna on the 8.2, and everything looks good. There's no anomalies seen in the coax, so it looks good going all the way up. And then he did an SWR sweep on the old 8.2 that Barry abandoned, and it looked good on it. And then I said, yeah, low SWR, great. Now hang on here, disconnect your analyzer, let me key up a radio on it, and then plug your analyzer back in. It's like, oh yeah, 3 to 5 SWR. So there's an issue there that we could probably correct too. I don't know what it is. It could be the antenna, it could be the jumper, it could be water inside the connector. There's just a lot of unknowns. And I hate it, but so I think we want to take a look at all three coaxes and see what we can do. But if we can fix it all and have the money to do it, great.
Right. So I think what I'm hearing, Dan, is that we've got to put together a little bit of an action plan. We got to get a little more detail around what we're going to do and what that entails. And then once we have that plan in hand, we can then look at how much of that could we potentially ARRL club grant fund with, or equipment grant fund. And then we could also break down that as a function of what does the club need to self-fund, and then present that to the membership for saying, let's cover these, this is what we've got, this is the plan, here's what it's going to take, and let the membership kind of work with us on that as well.
Yep.
The net of that, just to kind of move us along, is I think that we're going to have to come back with a plan. I know that we'll probably want to put a couple extra smidges into the budget, but I don't know that we're ready to put all of what you were talking about and presenting to us in the budget. I think we're going to have to take what you're talking about and presenting to us to the membership kind of as a budget exception is kind of my 2 cents on that. I
Yeah,
don't want to rush us, but I do need to move us along. So
yeah.
I'll let you finish up.
No, yeah, we'll have a couple of, I call them engineering meetings, and then figure out the cost for options. So more to follow.
Fantastic. So any of the board that wants to participate with Dan in those engineering meetings, or any of the membership that wants to participate in those members and those engineering meetings, please let us know, and we will get that taken care of. So, Dan, is that everything you got? I'll move into a quick report from Mary Jean on the bylaws if you don't have anything else.
Yeah, that's the highlights.
Thank you so much for all of the time that was involved in that. I know that was not a trivial amount of time, so thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Dan.
All right, Mary Jean sent in a quick report now that she's kind of got everything kind of settled with some of her other things. She is wanting to pick up and address a couple of the bylaw situations that we wanted to address many months ago. She's got some to do that. She's comfortable with using large language models, aka Chat GPT and AI, to help us with that a little bit. She's got a document that she's going to send out so that we're not starting from scratch. She has suggested Taylor Nikki, KQ4KLJ, and Adam, K4SPB, myself, and Perry. She wanted to see if you would participate in this quick little small bylaws group. And that would be a committee of 5 to kind of address these little, not major tweaks, but there's some needs that need to kind of be addressed that we've kind of found where we've discovered a couple of holes that kind of need to be addressed. So that was her report. I'll take any questions and try to answer them, or otherwise I will defer. Any questions on that? All right, hearing none on that. Steve, I'm going to take a minute instead of just diving into your report. I want to jump into real quick, and we've got a branch here we can talk about. We can either do the budget first, or we can do the Hamfest discussion. What's everybody's thought? We want to do budget or Hamfest?
You go ahead and do the budget, and that way if somebody needs to drop off, that they could, or
Okay, fair enough. So Paul, I'm going to shift and let you grab the presentation and share. I know that Paul worked really hard. Thank you very much, Paul, on putting that proposed budget together, as well as 2025 actual. So we'll work through this and talk through this. Hopefully it won't take too terribly long. There is some a little bit of gray in the budget that we'll have to flesh out around how the Hamfest is going to get budgeted into this. But Paul, I yield and let you take the share. I do see the budget. Thank you.
Sorry, I muted myself and I lost the button. All right, so you do see it. So what I did, I just carried forward the format that Jim had in the past, and I kept the 2023, 2024, and 2025 data as it was, and updated the 2025 actuals, and those are through the end of the year. So we had a total income of 9965 basically. We had total spending of 11,943, or a net deficit of 1979 for the year. That deficit's driven by the fact that we did pay the Hamfest rental in December, 2640. So we would have been within budget. So looking
Right.
at any questions on the actuals before I get into the budget? All right, so for the proposed 2026, I basically just kind of looked back over the years, looked at what this past year looked like, and then put some estimates in there. And some of these um, are I will use the term guesstimate as opposed to estimate. It's it's kind of a wag swag. Uh, so anyway, donations. We got a couple of large donations this year. They've just been putting 50 in the proposed. We've gotten more than that every year, so I put that in at 500 for the year. Membership, that had been running, the proposed had been running at 2,000. We actually did way better than that in 2024, but 2025 we were down some, but I went ahead and left that at 2,000. Advertising revenue, I just kept it at what it was proposed at for 2025. I'm not sure what advertising that is even for, or how we would get money for advertising. So if somebody's got some more information there, or if that needs to be zero, let me know. The Huntsville trip, I just guesstimated 25 at 100 a piece. And then interest income, I put in at 500. Actuals for the year were 675, but the interest rates are coming down. I didn't do a math calculation here. I just kind of wagged 500. And then I did put in some guesstimates here for Hamfest. Maybe we should table that piece until we go through Steve's plan. I mean, I can tell you what I did. I did assume we were charging admission, and I assumed $5, and I put 300 people. Vendor space rentals, I put 40 at $20. Guesstimated a grant from the ARRL for 5,000. I had concessions in there. I pulled that out because I'm not sure if we know what we're doing there yet. Steve had mentioned we didn't have access to a kitchen. And so concessions seemed to be like a difficulty. And so I just pulled that for now. But obviously I can change any of these. So anyway, those are what I had
right.
for revenues or income coming in.
Jonathan has raised a hand. Go
Yeah,
ahead. Go ahead,
so
Jonathan.
for line number 4, was that a donation that's somebody that's just paying that out of pocket for us, and we expect that to happen again this year, or was that a one-time donation?
I looked at it
So
as a
that was
one-time.
Yeah, that was
That was
passing of the hat.
that was a
yeah.
Yep, that was a pass the hat. So there was two things. There were two components to that donation. We passed the hat at a membership meeting and covered that. There was a hotspot hardware piece that covered. It was 300 and some change, and then there was $120 annual service fee for $10 a month. And that $10 a month fee is coming up again in February. So Paul, that's $120 for that. That'll need to go in as an expense. I'm not sure. I think we haven't done expenses yet, but that is coming in
Okay.
February.
Okay, he's got it
Yeah.
down there. All
And
right,
we could
that's cool.
Yeah.
and we could just as easily, Jonathan, pass the hat again, saying, "Hey, we don't need $450 again. We just need 10 or 5."
Oh, well, I
And,
mean,
and
I think given the earlier conversation, we're probably going to have to pass the hat for a bunch of stuff. So I was just making
the
sure
hat's
that
going to go around.
yeah, I was just making sure that was like a one-time cost, and we weren't expecting this coming year. It sounds like it is. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right. So, well, that was it from the revenue side. And then from expenses, I've got the Tennessee annual report in there. It was $20 this year, so I put it at 25. I went ahead and kept the meeting space donation at 400. Not knowing what we'll be doing there. Web hosting, I put that in at 200. It was 175 this year. Or no, I'm sorry, that was Zoom. And then the web hosting, I put in at 175.
Real quick, I'd like to speak to the Zoom. Zoom has a Zoom business plan that allows us to have multi-user so that it's not the same account that we share, so that multiple people could have an account and log in with their username and their password that they know. I'd like to explore that for the club. I don't know how much extra money that's going to be, Paul. It's another, when I researched it, was another $100 or so to make that happen. With the training that we do and potential testing, other things that we do, I think as a benefit to the club. So my ask there to the board would be, I'd like to bump that up a little bit. I don't have the full amount yet because I'm waiting for the Zoom people to get back from vacation to reach back out to me to work through the mechanics of what that would look like. Meaning we never have more than one concurrent meeting, but we need 4 or 5 people that could schedule and create accounts and meetings that they could run at having no more than one concurrent meeting at a time. So there's some ways to do that within their plans, but it changes our plan from a pro plan to a business plan, and that has an uptick in fees. I'm trying to get that quantified, and I don't have that answer yet.
Do you want me to go ahead and bump this up $150?
If everybody doesn't object, I would like to, yes.
I don't really have an objection to increasing the amount. I would recommend that perhaps we review the options that are available, and maybe we can. It doesn't necessarily have to be Zoom. I don't guess it could be something else. Yeah, I don't know what exactly.
I mean, we are, to your point, we are a Google Workspace nonprofit, so we have access to Google Meeting.
Yep.
As a function of that, just to put the challenge on the table, the challenge presents itself when we're trying to use people that don't use it on a regular basis. Think training, think online classes, think those kinds of situations. And Google Meet it's just not as intuitive. That's the table. But we can certainly explore that. I'm not discounting your observation there that there are other options where we could potentially explore having that money not be spent and use what's available to us.
Okay.
Would you be willing to help out and kind of explore some of that?
Yeah.
Pros and cons? Okay. I'll reach out to you and we'll work through that.
Yeah.
Discord is another one, I think.
A younger audience, yeah, for sure, probably.
Yep.
We just switched from Zoom to Teams at work, but I don't know if that's really an option.
We're big into Teams at work as well, but not everybody.
Yeah, that would. I would suspect that's more expensive.
I think you've hit on probably one of the best requirements is ease of use and availability of the platform. Like, is it web enabled? Could everybody just hit a web URL and join a meeting with one button or 2 buttons, right? And and they don't have to go through all this. Because, like, I'll tell you what, when Zoom does an update, like, I'm going to be late for that meeting. That's for sure. Like, I haven't connected to Zoom in a month, and they've got an update, and I'm trying to join a meeting in 2 minutes. No, that's going to be like 20 minutes.
There's some options we can explore, but what I'm wanting to just kind of put on the table is I do want to try to get us into a multi-user kind of situation so that we have more options. That's my comment. I apologize, Paul. Take us away.
I'll go ahead and bump that up to 350. The web hosting I talked about. Domain registration, that was 50. Oh, actually, it was planned for 51, but we hadn't spent anything on that yet. We discussed that in the past, and I think you guys were going to look at it.
We did, and I think the
Was it a?
renewal wasn't until 28 or something. I mean, it was out
Yeah,
there still.
it was like 5 years. It's still way out there.
Yeah.
Okay. I can change that to 0 then.
Well, I may.
Yeah.
So it might be, as long as if something comes up that we want to, use some funds in that kind of realm. I mean, I don't know if we would. Who knows what we'll do, but I mean, $50 is not that
So I
big a
mean,
deal.
if you want to preserve the funding, Jonathan, we can put it into the discretionary budget. I think you
Yeah,
had
let's
not
do
joined
that.
yet. The bylaws do give us the ability to reapportion within the budget line items as long as we don't change the net budget.
Okay.
But if we zap that out of that and just dump it into the discretionary bucket, we can cover whatever we need to do as the board's discretionary. So
Okay. Yeah, that
let's
makes
just
sense.
take that out of that, Paul, and move that into the discretionary fund.
All right. Meeting refreshments. Last year it was proposed 800. We actually spent a little under 500. I put it at 650. Uh, uh, just kind of a wag. Food for the December meeting. The actual spend for that was actually in the 483, but I kept that as 100. Door prizes, I kept at 500. PO box rental,
Can we talk about that number a little bit?
the door prize.
Yeah, it did go a bit over that this year, so I don't know if we wanted to keep it that way. And also, things in general have gotten more expensive. So
Yeah, we cover the Wago project out of the discretionary bucket.
yeah, so I don't know if we want to, if we have other ideas, like, because there might be some other ideas for this coming year to do the same kind of thing, and if we wanted to bump that up a little bit to get, to cover, because I think ultimately I ended up, I think just without the Wago, I think I went to, like, I think it was six something, I think. I went over a little bit, so just saying, if you don't want to have to
Uh,
dig into the discretionary fund, if you want to bump that up a hundred or so, that might give us a little bit more wiggle room for inflation, because in general everything's going up.
600, 650.
That was probably closer to where we ended up being without the Wago thing. And we may not spend that much, but I'd rather have it there than have to go digging into discretionary fund.
Just
All
because
right.
it's budgeted doesn't mean we have to spend it.
Right, right, right. Yeah. It just means that we don't have to go stealing from Peter to pay Paul.
Paul never gets money, just so you know. Peter gets robbed, but Paul never gets paid.
There you go.
The PO box, I just recently renewed that. It was 360, so I put it in at 375. Equipment insurance, we paid 302 this year, so I bumped it up to 350. Club liability, we paid 200. I bumped that up to 225. It looks like that's not changed over the last several years. So I mean, theoretically, would knock that down, I guess.
I mean, so we could
Repeaters,
knock that down. We could knock that down, Paul, and cover any discrepancy from the discretion bucket if we needed to, if it suddenly
so
went up.
make it 200 to match.
I, I I think that would look a little better because we don't want to get too badly into the deficit.
Okay. Repeater system maintenance. We spent on repeater related stuff 737. The proposed budget was 1,000. I went, I put 1,000 in here originally, and then this 6,700 I've got beside it. was kind of an estimate based on Alan's comments about 2 antennas, a tower climb, and I put in some other miscellaneous, but this was just semi-wag on my part. But I guess we'll
Right.
just kind of keep that at
I'll
1,000 for
put,
now.
yes, sir. I'll put this out there as my opinion. I don't think we want to put Dan spoke quite eloquently to what's going to have to happen for the repeater systems. It's going to be a year or two potentially of kind of high maintenance lift for us because we've kind of reached that cycle in the life cycle. I don't know that we want to put that in the budget per se. What I think we're going to end up having to do with that is Dan's going to prepare the plan for us, and then we're going to bring that back to the membership as a special presentation to the membership and ask them for that specifically, and not necessarily try to put that into the year-over-year budget. That's my opinion. I defer to the board's opinion on that as well because everybody else has been strangely quiet.
I mean, it sounds like a good idea. I mean, we don't usually have too many problems when we come to that, and I'm sure that Dan will have put together a good, presentation about what it's going to cost, and everybody will be able to understand it and likely agree to it as long as we've got the money to do it.
Do we have any money left over from the budget last year under repeater maintenance that could roll over into this?
I mean, theoretically, yeah, $263.
If we didn't have the Ham
So
Fest,
little.
I would say yes, but rollovers and the Ham Fest are going to be consuming.
Yeah, I agree with you, Joe. The Ham Fest is going to take our attention, and it has a great upside, but it has some risk associated with it.
Well, so I'll leave that at 1,000 and just for general stuff, and then Dan will come back with this, the more in-depth case once we have a better idea of what we want to do.
Yeah, that's probably going to be an above and beyond.
Okay. Moving along, the next line that I budgeted was just the internet for the repeater site. It had been 120 a year, or it was for the first year, so I just bumped it to 150.
I don't see that exceeding it. They reached out and said, "Hey, our renewal's coming. You need to go validate that you're still going to renew." I'll go push that button. I don't see that exceeding that 150, so that's a safe number.
I didn't catch that last part.
I think 150 is a very safe number. That should leave
Okay.
us a little bit of excess in that line.
Okay. The next thing was the Southeastern Repeater Association. It was in the plan for 35. I didn't, unless I missed it somehow or another, I never saw a disbursement for that. But I went ahead and put it in at 35.
Yeah,
I
I just
sort of remember a discussion on that being a multi-year maybe membership.
it's a single year. 35 is. I just paid for it out of my pocket the last couple of years because I don't know. I just did.
Because you're the man, Dan. That's why.
But if we have it paid for, reimbursed, it probably needs to be bumped up to 70 because the Southeastern now requires a primary and secondary on all the repeaters. So I had to add, I had to get Joe to be my secondary. So
Okay. And is it just like a named account or something? So you got to pay for 2 accounts or something?
yes, you have to register with your own call sign and name.
Okay.
You can't call it trustee.
Okay.
And there has to be two individual people on it.
You can't register like a club call sign or something.
No,
No.
they want to know the
Named
actual
people.
individual associated with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Just one quick thing on Dan's comment about just paying for it out of pocket. One of my preferences would be um, is when we do that, I'm perfectly fine with that. Um, what I would prefer from a bookkeeping perspective, though, if you guys are agreeable, is to show what the cost is and then offset that in the donation category. That way we don't lose sight of the spend
Yeah,
going forward.
that's
I
reasonable.
think that's very fair, very
Right.
reasonable.
Yep.
I mean, I don't want to out anybody that doesn't want to be outed for being generous. That's not the point, but it's just so that we don't lose visibility of, our club's obligations.
Yeah. That's a good ask.
So that's that. I
All right.
bumped that.
Now, I just want to do a quick time check. Just remind everybody I anticipate we're going to run a little long. Just letting everybody know that it's going to take a minute to work through some of these other things. Go ahead, Paul.
So the next thing was field day. It's been budgeted for 250 for the last several years. After reimbursements from the SHOBA, we spent about 174. So I just kept that at the 250. Discretionary, the board's discretionary, I kept that at 1,000. We spent 247 out of that this past year, which I could get you the details of what that went to, but at least two of those were related to the giveaways at the December meeting. And it seems like there was one other small thing that we covered as well. I just don't remember what it was now, but I've
It was
got it if
door
anybody's
prizes
wondering.
at November meeting.
Yeah, November, yeah. So that's where the 1,000 came from. And then Huntsville, I put the bus in there at 2,800, a tip to the driver of 200, Hamfest admission 350, cost of the flea market 125, Danvers 225, and then just snacks I put in at 175. So that totaled 3,875. And just for reference, I only had 2,500 in revenue. So I don't know if we want that to look that way or if the revenue needs to be higher. So anyway, that's what I got there. And then the only other thing I have that wasn't related to the Hamfest is I think Adam had put forward a proposal for a Kraken SDR receiver for 1,300. So I put that in there. And that's everything I've got in there except for, like I said, the estimates for the Hamfest. Just real quickly to go through those. Like I said, we've already paid for the 2026 space, but I went ahead and put 3,000 in here for 2027. And then I put in 1,000 for table and chairs, 1,000 for advertising, which I think is a decent estimate based on some of what I saw from Steve. And then I just put in 1,500 for unknown. And like I said, I did take out the food concessions just because I wasn't sure how we would deal with that.
Concessions have the possibility to make some income, some net income for the event. MARA showed that they made $1,500 on concessions, and they really only were offering hamburgers and hot dogs, which we would be able to facilitate at the venue with the grill out the back door and basically a little couple of serving tables at the door that would be serving that. We wouldn't make $1,500. We'd make probably a little less because they were having their cost of goods donated to them by the Bonner. We would not have cost of goods donated. We would have to purchase goods, but I still see it as a potential opportunity for us to make potentially $1,000 net revenue that would be able to go into the Handfest budget. And that could be, just a real quick observation. That could be the $1,000 that goes towards the bus trip. So buy your concessions at the Hamfest, and the Hamfest concessions cover the bus trip, and come join us on the bus trip, and the bus trip washes out. I mean, there's some opportunity there. But that's just my 2 cents.
What would you guesstimate a cost of food there? 500, 800, 1,000?
A good example of that, you could look at field day. Field day is typically field day. We do a lunch and a dinner and a breakfast. Not in the traditional fashion, but it's 3 meals for about 30 people. So that's 90 meals, and that's $250. So you double that, and you get 180 meals, and it'd be about $500. So the number that I keep tossing around in my head is about cost of goods, because you got miscellaneous concession stuff, $500. I was looking at it really that way of, $500 cost, and they were made $1,500 at MARA. So if 30% cost, then we make 60%. That's kind of how my mind was thinking through it. Steve, others, anybody have some other thoughts on that? I don't want to be the only one talking.
Yeah, that just, that whole thing, because we don't have a clue about the numbers. From what I was, you just, if I heard you right, you were throwing out 30 and then you doubled it. So 60, heck, if we got 60 people that show up, we're in trouble. So do we do we plan for 200? Do we plan for 250, 300? If you have food
we could back
out, it's worse. I think it's worse than not even having food. But then do you plan for 200 people and you sell 2 hamburgers and you're sitting there with a bunch of stuff left over? That's something we got to talk about. The concessions, I mean, I don't know. That is such a big variable. And then you're going to have to, if you're going to have concessions for, I mean, they used to have what, 4 to 6 people running the concession thing. Yep, I've got a committee of 1 right now, and we're going to have to come up with 4 or 5 people to sell hamburgers to make a couple $100.
Or another club steps up. That's an option. Anyway, let me table that for just a second, Steve. I don't want to cut it off, but I also want to
I don't want to be that negative. I mean, it could be a great thing, but if we don't do it right,
we don't know.
It could,
I think at a minimum you gotta have Cokes and water and chips, but you gotta have something.
You gotta watch it with the contract where we can only have Coca-Cola products, so we can't go out and buy some cheap Cokes. I don't even know about. I need to look about the water.
I think, did Jen give us a waiver on that? I have to go back on that, Steve. I think we were, anyway. Okay. What I was trying to do, Steve, was I wanted to try to finish the budget.
Yeah, and that's why I said to have the budget go first, because we're, that's some of it overlaps, and we have to have the budget done. So yeah.
So where we are on the bylaws is we have to have kind of an agreed upon budget. We will discuss this. We'll talk about it one more time. We approve it in February, publish it in February, and the membership approves it in the February membership meeting. So that's kind of where we're at. We will have one final pass on the budget in the February board meeting, and then we'll publish this in the February Sparks, and then approve it at the February membership meeting. So that's the path for the budget approval, just so that everybody understands that, because I did review that. I wanted to make sure I had that correct. And Paul, were there anything else that we forgot to talk about or that you wanted to bring to our attention? Because one of the
No,
other things we want to really, and
that's
you've
all
kind
I
of
had.
highlighted, is how we wanted to budget in the Hamfest in this, because we are anticipating that we will get income from a grant for it, and hopefully that'll offset the expense to the club. So, all right, I've done a lot of talking, and everybody else has been really quiet. So I'm going to hush and open the floor.
My only 2 cents is that the Hamfest is before field day. So if we have leftover concessions that don't get sold, then everybody's getting burgers at field day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
That's not a bad,
Yeah,
that's a good point. That's a
good
good
point.
point.
Because that food doesn't have to go bad that day. I mean, we can keep it in the refrigerator and people can keep it
Well,
at home or
it'd
whatever.
be a cooler. I said there's no refrigerator.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Real quick, Adam, do you want to put anything in here in the budget as a line item for winter field day?
No, we're gonna abandon the cabin plan and go back to the campground plan. The
Okay.
renovations are done, so I'll just let people book that on their own.
What campground?
Meme and Shelby Forest.
Okay.
So
Do
Will
you want to leave
their
the Kraken?
oh.
Go ahead, John.
will Shelby Forest their campground be open by then?
yeah,
So I
it's
knew
open
they were
now.
renovating. Okay, great.
What was that, Joe?
Do you want to leave the Kraken in the budget, or do you want to try to write a grant for that?
I could write a grant, or we could table it for a year since we got so much else going on.
I feel
prioritize
personally
things.
like if we weren't having some of these other repeater issues that Dan was talking about earlier this evening, that we would be fine leaving it in, but I kind of would
Yeah,
be on board tabling it.
that's what I'm saying with just trying to prioritize things. So
That's not saying we can't potentially have a grant that covers that, but I think that's not a bad plan.
yeah.
All right. All right. We're not going to actually we'll talk about this a little bit more in February. Good work on this. I do want to go kind of around the corner real quick. Dan, do you have any observations on the budget? I want to put everybody's thoughts, get everybody a chance specifically by calling you out and asking you about it for final thoughts, and then we're going to yield the rest of the time to Steve. So Tyler, you're next, and then Joe, and then Josh.
I have nothing new to add.
Tyler, you got anything you want to add for membership or any membership incentives that you might think of that you want to add?
Membership incentives. It's a cool hobby. Get into it. Um, no, this is gonna be a busy year. Hate to hear we're gonna have to possibly spend that much on the UHF repeater or the 70 centimeter repeater up here, but it's gonna be well worth it in a couple years once it's all fixed. And I think it'll do good for the club for the long term, and just gonna be a busy year, busy year with this Hamfest.
Agreed. Joe?
Extra class, we've got 10 students. Also, I've set up for a technician class to start on the 23rd of February, also via Zoom, ending on April the 6th. And that's it.
All right. Anything you want to add that you think you might need in the budget?
No,
Okay.
it has $50 in it, or had. The only thing is, technician license manual is being renewed, so we'll have to get a new one.
Hey Joe, so I've had some people ask about the tech class. Is that just going to be straight through however many Mondays that is?
Uh, February the 10th will not be held. But
All right.
if you'll get them to send me an email, with their name, email address, and phone number, I'll be glad to send them information.
All right. Give me those dates one more time, please.
It is February the 23rd, March the 2nd, March the 16th. March the 23rd will be, 23rd, and then the 30th will be the opportunity to take the FCC exam, and then April the 6th. So all of them will be in person except for the 30th of March. I'm sorry, all of them will be via Zoom except for the 30th of March.
Thank you.
Paul,
We need to
Paul.
budget for you new manuals, Joe.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell Paul. You need to carry over at least that $50 line item for the training, Paul. Yeah.
All right. Perry, you have any observations or worries about budget concerns, ads?
I do not. I think that's, I wanted to thank Paul for all that work. That's an incredible amount of work. He put a lot of thought into it, and I do appreciate it. But I don't have anything that sticks out to me or anything I would think we would need to add at this point. But I just wanted to thank Paul.
Absolutely. Agreed. Thanks, sir. Josh, you have anything you think everything's covered in the budget from your aspect of what you're might potentially be needing?
Yeah, everything looks good so far. As for the meeting coming up this week, next week, is there going to be any ice available? Like, do they have a kitchen?
Yes, there is an ice machine there.
Okay, great. Okay.
We can go rate it.
I gotta go out this weekend and pick up a few more snacks. We're running a little bit low, but we are good on drinks.
Okay.
So. Other than that, I'm good with everything else.
Right. All right. We will bring this back up again. Think about it. Paul will recirculate this, and we will approve this for forwarding to the membership in February. Go ahead, Jonathan.
I had one other question, Paul. So, how much money we got in the bank right now, minus this budget?
There
Total
is
of
12,900.
What now? Say it again.
Well, we have 12,593 in the checking, and then we have the 2 CDs, which total about 17,500.
Okay, and what's the budget?
The net
expense
deficit is $1,600, and that's with the Hamfest numbers in there. So basically, those amounts would go down by $1,600 if all this was accurate.
Okay. So the things in yellow are what's keeping that number from not. I'm just like, I don't know.
Well, the things in yellow are actually helping that bottom line because right now the total revenue from the Hamfest is 8,800 and the total expense is 7,000. So it's contributing 1,800 to
Okay,
that
so
bottom line.
okay.
So it's other areas. Let's see, we're non-Hamfest revenue side is 6,250 and the expense side non-Hamfest is 9,670.
Okay. That was more what I was wanting to know. Okay. And we've got 12 in the bank, 13 roughly. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, the only other thing that
Yeah, there's
that I know of we're going to as a cost on the Hamfest is security. We got to pay for the
Oh,
security, and
yeah.
that's 350.
all right.
We got to pay for
If there's
one.
nothing, go ahead.
No, go ahead. That's one guard for that one day during the event.
I'm gonna steal the. Any other? All right. Anything else on the budget? I'm gonna steal a share back and kind of throw up the agenda for the Hamfest and let Steve jump away and carry us away. Paul, I before Steve gets started, I want to say again a heartfelt thanks to all of the time that you have poured into that. I noticed that you have thrown that into Quicken, which is not light work. So very much appreciate all that hard work and appreciated the effort into doing that and getting us into that realm of ease of use. So thank you very much.
Quite welcome.
All right, Steve, floor is yours.
All right. I propose that we just cancel the Hamfest. Good night. See y'all later. All right. Need membership to buy in and willingness to assist. I do think that next week, we need to spend some time,
Putting
with the
names on a piece of
members.
paper.
Huh?
Putting names down on a piece of paper.
Well, it's some hopefully some names, but just every time I turn around, everybody's going, "Oh well, you ought to do this, you ought to do this, you ought to do this." I mean, I'm hearing that from different clubs and vendors and everything else, and I'm saying, "Okay, what do you want to do?" And they say, "Well, I can't do it, but you ought to do it." And it's like, "Well, crap, somebody um, somebody needs to actually step up and do something." And I'm not saying that y'all have it and others won't, but I've got some good ideas for some you know meetings, and not so much meetings, but topics for discussion and stuff. And I said, okay, do you know somebody that can do that? Well, I don't know anybody that can do it, but this is what y'all need to talk about. And it's like, well, hey, so I do think we need to spend quite a bit of time next week, you know, pinning it down what people do want. I know that we're going to be kind of up against the fact Camcheck said don't do anything different, but if we keep doing the same thing, then it's not going to work. Like a big thing would be get the feedback from membership about the concessions. Is that something? Well, if we say we're going to have concessions, we know that we're going to have at least 4 people probably doing that. And because if we don't, it's just not going to work. I do see that as a possible moneymaker, but I also see it as a drain on manpower, and it's really hard without the numbers to estimate what we need to have. Now, when we said that we could use the stuff for free fed or for field day, that made me feel a little better. Uh, the venue, yeah, I think we've pretty much got that nailed down. I need to go back out there and maybe do some better measurements and stuff so that I can start planning out how we're going to use the space. They have a, floor plan but it doesn't give a whole lot of dimensions and stuff. So I can guesstimate, but I'll go back out there pretty soon and get some actual measurements and start playing around with some layouts. Tables and chairs. Um, I've had a few vendors. When I first notified the previous vendors, I did have some say that they wanted to do it. I'll get back with them now that the holidays and everything are over and start pinning down the numbers for that. I haven't heard much from any of the other clubs of what they're wanting for tables. I need to get back with them and see what they want to do. Because I'm seeing this thing more as I'm because something that was brought up, membership, increasing membership. This is going to be the best. Okay. This is going to be the best opportunity we're ever going to have, us and other clubs, to get people in off the street and get new members. And if we can get the momentum going and get some people in the door and get their attention and do that, then this thing can grow. If we have the same people that are already members and stuff that come to this, it does start making you wonder if it does need to keep going. If we can't get them in at Agri Center with some of the advertising, the advertising on the billboards and stuff that we can do, if we don't have at least a couple of hundred extra people come in, it's going to be a time to look at it and see, is this worth doing?
All right, go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah.
I was going to say along those lines about bringing on new members or something, would it be, I mean, this just throwing this out there, but an idea like a discounted prorated type membership, or
That's
a club.
That's exactly that's the next thing I was going to say.
And maybe a multi-club membership if you join at the show, right? You're not just a member of Delta for a year, but you also get like if you happen to be in Tipton County or I mean wherever you're coming from, maybe we could do something like a multi-club membership and divvy that money up between the clubs or however we want to do it. But you get, if you come to the show and join, you get whatever kind of a rate to join whatever amount of clubs.
Or if you join ARRL.
I would say, I wouldn't, probably spread it across 2 clubs.
I'd say you join ARRL and then we give you a discount, which we do for training anyway already, but that way we promote the people that are giving us a grant.
Yeah. But if you're brand new, like if you're walking in off the street, you don't know who ARRL is, right? I mean, it's like,
I know, but
if we try to tell them who they are, I mean, yeah.
When we find out what the seminars and stuff are going to be, I think we should challenge everybody on this call. Like I know there's a guy at work that kayaks and fishes a lot and goes hiking, and he's I've talked to him about ham radio before, and be a very easy to work into a conversation. Hey, this weekend we've got seminars on this. If you want to come out and check it out.
I was at the gun show last weekend, and there was a vendor out there that had ham radio, and I was like, "Hey, dude, you want to come to the ham show that's coming up in April?" You know what?
Exactly.
He's busy that weekend.
Yeah.
That weekend, he's somewhere else.
Yeah.
Go figure.
I mean,
what?
you know, what real high on my list was, you know, if you pay to come into to the event, which you're going to have to do that, you know, while you're there that day, have at least half off membership. I mean, because yes, we're losing half the membership, but heck, we're gaining all of what we would have got, what we wouldn't have gotten from somebody that's walking in off the street. Um, I mean, the more I think about it, because if you're gonna charge somebody $20, you know, we do it, but stop and think about it in this economy and everything else. If somebody comes up to to the table and says, okay, here's, you know, yeah, your membership's $20. What do I get out of it? Well, you can come to the meetings. Oh, well, can I not come to the meeting if I'm not a member? Well, yeah, you can come if you're not a member. Well, what, you know, it's we're selling I don't know what we're selling. If for somebody, we've got to figure out how can we market this thing where somebody thinks they're getting something. And that's going to be a little bit of we got to be ready for that. I think we're going to have some good opportunities to grab some new people, but if somebody's thinking about, you know, buying a membership and they say, well, what do I get for it? What do we tell them?
Well, I mean, we are a training club, right? I mean, thankfully, Joe puts on training classes all year long, right?
But you don't have to be a member to get to do the training.
Yeah, you don't have to be.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've been a member for a long time, so I support the club, but we've got to be ready for that question.
Yeah, Adam has some excellent training that he does every month with his presentations. I'll give that but your question is real. We've got to be able to defend and answer that question with absolute certainty of this is the benefit of the Delta Club.
Hey, okay, Adam. I think I saw a hand. Hey, y'all got to understand. I'm not used to the meeting, so if you got a question or something, just say it. Did Adam raise his hand for something or?
Oh, it's just clapping the thing.
Oh, clapping. Okay, clapping. Okay. I do kind of like the idea of a two for you know, maybe charge full if we're gonna do 2 for 1, then we would go with the charge the normal fee, but you get 2 for 1. Or would it be 2 for 1, or you can get half price?
Well, you know, if I guess we got to figure out if the other clubs are, you know, how much are they really going to participate? You know, if we want to pull in some of these other clubs, I mean, also, you know, like, what's the benefit for them other than, you know, they're going to hope to grow their membership too.
I mean, I have visited all the clubs around here now. The night that I know that Joe Lowenthal goes down to Helena, and he went down there. I think he did talk to him. I think that's the same night as the Jonesboro, and I was up at Jonesboro. But I've been to all these meetings, and that's the one thing I'm stressing to them is, I mean, some of these clubs have got 20 people, you know, and if we have 200 people walk in off the street and they can get some of those members, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity for some of these clubs that have got 20 people. And if they want to participate and if they want to use it as a membership drive, we're inviting them to do that. But if they don't want to do anything, then we're the ones that's going to possibly gain 150, 200 new members. How competitive are they?
And to your incentive point, I mean, maybe as a board, we need to decide that we have, because we're working on the budget, that there should be some money set aside for, hey, you're going to join, you're going to get, obviously you can come to all the meetings and, you know, you're going to get to have, you know, snacks and be with all the people that really know the club if you partake and you go to the class that are Joe puts on and the other people put on, hey, we got your first radio. Like, and we buy a bulk set of Baofeng radios or something that we can give somebody when they, when they pass their exam, whatever that is, so something that we can, hey, we're going to help you get into the, maybe it's a book, maybe it's a radio, something, but something that's more of an incentive to say, hey, these are also some benefits that we could give you when you join up. And it's not like we're just going to hand it to them. It's like you can join, but now you need to take the test and you need to get licensed. And when you get licensed, we're gonna, here's a little kit. We're gonna give you a little something, as part of joining that, because you're at the club, right? Or you join
Yeah,
at
that's a
The
good
welcome
idea.
kit.
because you join at the Ham Fest, right? And that could be a special, like, one-time thing, like, hey, you join today, you fall into this bucket where we support you through your tech in general or whatever, like maybe give you a Baofeng, and maybe we've got something better for general if you go that far, right? Something like that is kind of like a, hey, join now kind of thing, because if
Yeah,
this is a one day, kind of thing we're gonna do.
yeah. That's not
All
a
right.
bad idea. If we get and then do we give it to each of them or put their name in a drawing for a couple of them?
I mean,
You got to think about what. All right, they I hate to say it, but I'm being a little, that they pay $20 and we give them what's a Baofeng now? $30?
no,
You
I
can
can
get
get
a
a, I can
pair
get a
of
box of,
UV5R minis for 35, so about
I can get a box.
17.50 a piece.
I can get
Okay.
a box of 10 of those for
Man,
250.
I didn't know
So,
I hadn't bought one in a while, so I didn't know. Well, but they're close to 20 a piece.
yeah,
Um,
like $25 a piece, but
all right,
and
25 a
probably could
piece. So
do better.
if they pay $20, if they're smart about it, if they pay $20, um, and we're going to give them a $25 radio, are we going to have 200 people sign up for that, and we're out?
We're not
No,
giving it to
I'd
them
make them
unless they
have some
pass.
skin in it.
No,
They
they
pass their
can't. They
tech
have to
exam
pass.
and volunteer for a public service event or something like that.
Right, right. They can't. It would be you join, and we're gonna facilitate you with training for the tech or general or whatever. And if you pass, then you could, we'll support your first radio, right? Go ahead, Joe.
Now, I just want to say this is fantastic discussion, and I want to challenge all of us to attend Steve's first meeting. And I don't know when Steve's going to call that meeting,
Yeah,
but
I
let us
don't
know
either.
soon, Steve, and we'll get you set up on a Zoom meeting as well.
Yeah.
But I also want to make sure.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, yeah, you go ahead. I think I'm just
I
trying
mean,
to. This is bringing up the type things that we need to, um, you know, seriously be thinking about and get the membership's involvement in. So I think after I don't think we're going to accomplish much more tonight. I mean, if there's any questions or anything that y'all have got, we can do that. But I think we see what comes out of the meeting on Tuesday. Let me kind of let's put some heads together and see when we can come up with a night that we could do another Zoom just for this, in the next week or two, in the next couple of weeks. And but I don't know. I see a lot
We
of
need to tie
potential.
down what time we're going to be doing it, what the entry fee is, and how much the tables and chairs are, so we can get it out to these clubs.
Yeah, I think what did we in the budget? It was like $5 for admission.
well, a table and two chairs needs to be $20
I was
because
gonna
that
say,
covers
yeah,
that makes us a table was like $8 and the chair is $1.50 a chair. I think is what it was from the Hicks
yeah,
quote. I'd have to
yeah.
go back
It
and
comes.
look,
I
but
think
I think that's what it was.
and setup charge. I think it worked out to $17 or something.
Yeah,
So if we charge,
$20 is a
yeah,
nice number for a table and two chairs for each of the booths.
yeah. I think if we do 20 a table and 5 for admission, I think, if y'all are, just off the top of your head, if y'all are comfortable with that, I think I think we can go ahead and finalize that. Five's low
So
for
we do want to
initial.
charge.
I would rather charge if we charge five and don't have a big turnout, then that just tells us there's not much interest. And if
So
we
let me
charge
just do a real
five,
quick.
yeah, if we charge five,
What
then
is the
huh?
what is some of the other Hamfest admissions that are around the region?
10, 15. That seems to be, what I've seen. I'll do some more checking. Um,
Okay.
but well, heck, we're nowhere near Huntsville, but what's Huntsville now? It's 15 or 20,
well,
Joe?
15 free and 18 at the door.
Yeah. I mean, we're not to that level, but we definitely can't go above Huntsville, so we can't go above 15. And since now we got to be careful if we do it five this time and we realize we way underdid it and we raise it up too much the next time, then it's going to be hard.
Huntsville
Well,
is $12 in advance and 15 at the door.
something to think about, Steve, is if we leverage for this particular year, we potentially leverage the grant a little bit to say, hey, we're going to try to not necessarily, we're going to try to, it's a consideration to say, hey, maybe we waive admission this year, thought, until we get a better handle on an admissions number that we can actually then track.
Yeah.
But where I was headed with this as well is I don't want to necessarily, we're running long, and I
Yeah.
apologize for that because, but I do want to not stop the conversation, but I do want to be very conscious of our board members' times that we're well over our normal meeting time. And I appreciate everyone running along with us. It's the kickoff and a lot of important things to talk about, but I don't want to abuse that either. So I want to be conscious of that. So what I'll do right quick is I know there's a lot to discuss, but I'll kind of round robin, throw out everybody. If you got any parting comments, we'll kind of round the room and ask Steve your parting questions, and I'd like to kind of wrap us up.
On the entry, one ticket with each $5 entry fee, one door prize ticket.
Yeah.
And then extra door prize tickets will be available.
My only question on that is what would that money be for? I mean, because at Free Fest, that was for Le Bonheur.
Help pay for the door prizes.
Well, but that's why I hesitated. We got to wait and see what we we're working on door prizes, but we got to be careful. We can't charge too much for the door prizes if all we've got is a couple of antennas or something. I don't have any commit. I've been talking to the clubs and different people, but nobody's committed anything for any prizes yet.
Yeah, that's I'd say that's all a little bit fluid right now, unfortunately. I think there's going to be door prizes, but I don't mean to be the one talking.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's because door prizes are going to be something that's going to help us draw people, but right now they're thin.
All right, anybody want to ask Tyler, Jonathan, Josh, Dan? I mean, anything else for Steve?
Are we
I
still
don't want to
wanting
cut
to
it
do
short.
like, not classes, what's the word I'm looking for?
Seminars.
Seminars. Hey, so
Seminars.
I realized I still have the Eris stuff from Huntsville. Do y'all want me to reach out to them and see if they'd be willing to come do a seminar? They did one of the little hour-long things at Huntsville. It's an option. I saw it. I was looking around for it and I found it.
And
So
what's that?
the basically getting schools and kids in contact with the ISS. I look
Oh,
the window to talk to them is not in April, but them coming out and actually talking about how to do it could be a possibility.
Mary
see if
Jean would
they're
love
interested.
that.
See if they're interested. Yeah. See if they're available.
Okay, doke. I will do that. And only other thing, Adam, I'll be in touch with you about Winter Field Day, what we're gonna do. That's it.
All right.
I don't have anything
Anybody
else.
else?
I don't have anything else. I think I do want to be at the
Sparks,
next meeting though.
Sparks,
So
Sparks, Sparks. Don't forget Sparks this
yes,
weekend.
send me your
Get your
stuff.
Sparks articles in,
Already
please.
done. Already sent.
Oh wow.
I guess I need
Fantastic.
to. I'll
Jonathan,
submit. I'll submit something. When do y'all need to try to have that one in?
I prefer to have it by Saturday if you can.
Okay.
I usually really work on it Sunday, and we do a few rounds of drafts, and then it goes out Sunday, usually around 3 or 4, if everything works out right.
We might try to need to get it out a little bit earlier because of the change of location.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't disagree with that, Joe. I will also say I am been working on a rough draft of a membership email that I was just going to send out as the president to all the memberships. And one of the things in that would be a new location as well. So I'm going to try to hit them a couple of times with that. But to your point, valid point, it'd be good if we could get Sparks out a little earlier than normal.
All right, then. Everybody needs to send me their stuff.
Friday, please. But
Yeah.
shoot for having it out Saturday evening, please.
Okay.
And I'm raising my hand as the guilty party.
Yeah. I'm doing okay with Swamp Stompers. I could use a couple of more, but I'm waiting to hear back from a couple of more that normally do it. I'm getting nervous now about what repeater we're going to use. I'll get more with Dan and see what he thinks we be able to use. But
The 220.
So one of the things that I did mention, Steve, to Dan, and I'll just throw it out there again as an option. There is an option if we need to potentially to do a little bit of repeater shuffles potentially and take DMR repeater for the day to support you and not necessarily run it DMR, run it via UHF. We just need to work out the logistics of that.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's just
I
there's
don't.
some logistics.
I don't have a wide band license for the repeater.
okay. Well, Dan, I may need to get with you. So think about it. What else has got some coverage out there, Shelby Forest?
Um, and we may talk to Ham also. Ham's got his old VHF repeater on a tower out there by the Navy base. It's not a club repeater, but
On the
Ham's.
north end, Tipton County repeater might be able to be used. 145.49 with a 100 PL tone.
Yeah, I'm sure if we ask them,
Yeah.
they might even want to help participate.
All right, 145.49.
Correct.
Okay. I may
100
actually,
PL tone.
yeah, I may even run out that way, see if I can hit it from different places and see if that's even an option. Who's got that one? Tipton County?
Tipton, Bill Hughes, I think is a trustee. KI4BIY.
Okay.
All right. Any
All right.
other parting comments? Everyone, I appreciate your time very much. this is a wonderful hobby that we're in, and it does take some time to be a volunteer on the board. And I thank you all for that. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
Make a
moved.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
So moved by Paul, seconded by Jonathan. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for running long. Appreciate everyone. Y'all have a wonderful evening.